everything changed. Well, not everything changed all at once, because it doesn't happen overnight. However, I made a decision that I wouldn't let everything be the way that it was. And that decision that I made was that I would change my mindset. You see, the mind is the powerhouse of our being. It's where everything starts and ends. Every thought, every action, every reaction is born in the mind. Now, don't get it mistaken. This will not be a video about my fitness journey, about the programs or the workouts that I follow. It won't be about my nutrition plan or any diets or anything that I was following. Those are discussions for another day. And sure, those are the images that I shared, but that's because that's what we can see. You can see the physical change, but what you can't see is the metamorphosis that takes place mentally. But you see, instead, this is a message about how you, yes, you, already possess the tool to make the changes in your life that you want to. And that's simple, it's your mind. And you see, that's harder to convey, but that's where it needs to start. It needs to start in the mind. It starts with your mindset, because mindset is the master key. It will unlock the door to the life that you want, but it's on you to determine what's on the other side. And today I'm going to share with you how changing my mindset helped to improve my physical health. But more importantly, it helped to improve my mental health. And honestly, my mindset changed every aspect of my life. So, let's talk about it. So let's go back about almost 5 years ago now. And I was out on this solo hunt. It was a beautiful sunny day. There was snow on the ground and it was chilly, but it was gorgeous. And I was sitting up on this hill, watching this valley below me and watching the hillsides across. And by myself, in silence, my mind started to wander. I remember sitting there and thinking, what am I gonna do if I see a legal shooter? You know, mentally I worked through my setup, executing the shot, all of that. But then my mind went to, but would I actually take the shot? I'm out here by myself, I'm somewhat inexperienced. Would I actually do it? Would I follow through? And if I did, what would happen next? You know, I wasn't too far from the four-wheeler, but I was a decent ways away. And where the deer were coming out, it was a pretty good slope down. It could be a challenge to get in there, but what would happen after that? Did I have the skills? Did I have the ability to go ahead and take care of that animal and then get that meat back up to the four-wheeler? And that led me to this self-doubt. You know, can I do this on my own? And would I do this on my own? And then as I'm sitting there, my mind went further to my family. I'm out here by myself. What would happen if something happened to me? What would happen to my family? Would they be okay? Sure, my wife and a couple friends know where I'm at, so if something happened, they could probably come looking for me. But if something did happen, would I be able to take care of myself? Would I be able to get myself out of here and get myself to safety? Again, it was that self-doubt and that lack of confidence that just crept in. My boys, as they're getting older, and it's just all I can do to simply keep up with them. And in fact, I remember thinking, there was one day where I literally ran up the stairs real quick and I got to the top and I was out of breath. I was like, man, am I living up to the example that I want to set for them of who they should be, the man that they should try to be? And I thought about my wife. Am I being the husband that I need to be? Am I living up to my husbandly duties? Am I even setting the example for her and leading this family where we need to go? And honestly, at this point, I was in tears. I tear up almost just thinking about this now, because this was a life-changing, life-altering moment for me. It was a shift in my mindset, but also a shift in my identity. Because you see, as I was sitting there thinking about all of this, man, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Because I had noticed that this change coming over me slowly. And I finally realized that it was happening. That it had been happening over quite a few years. You know, I've always been the type of person that has thought, I'm only as old as I feel. And honestly, my mind kept me young. That physically, sure, I wasn't in great shape, but I kind of chalked it up to, hey, you know, I'm getting older. You know, I do have a desk job, that sort of thing. You know, all those excuses that we make. But unfortunately, I was seeing my mind slip. I was actually getting brain fog. I wasn't there mentally throughout the day. Yeah, sure, there were bouts of what I only can assume is slight depression. You know, there was a lack of motivation, lack of self-confidence, just immense negativity. And like I said, this was affecting all aspects of my life. Physically, mentally, my family, my work, my boys, my marriage, everything. It was affecting me. And feeling all of those feelings, the realization hit me. I was just standing still. I was living life, but I wasn't going anywhere. And that's where it was. I realized that I let my mind, body, and soul become stagnant. And at that point, it was crystal clear that I needed to make a change, that I needed to make a transformation. I didn't know where my life would go if I didn't. And it scared me to death thinking about what would happen if I did not step up right then and there. I made the decision right there. I changed my mindset that I was not going to be the man that I have been up to that point, that I was going to be that role model for my boys, that I was going to be that leader for my family, that I wasn't going to let myself sit idle any longer. It was the mindset shift that did it for me. Now I want to be crystal clear about something. I'm just a normal guy, a normal person just like you. And if I can make these changes, so can you. And it's as simple as just starting with changing your mindset. But notice I said that it was simple. I didn't say it was going to be easy. Because you see, it wasn't like just a light switch flipped on and everything changed. Yes, after making that decision, I felt invigorated, I felt motivated, I felt inspired to do something to change things. But there was still a lot of unknowns, things that were unclear of how I was going to get there. But I knew that that's where I wanted to get. And that was the thing, is I just needed to start somewhere. No more excuses, no more of fear of getting in my way, no more of putting it off until tomorrow. And what better place to start than physically? Challenge myself physically to push me to that next step. So honestly, later that day when I got home, I told my wife, I said, listen, we need to get a treadmill. And I had all these good intentions, the normal thoughts of, oh yeah, we'll get it set up and then I can start either Monday or next week once we get it going. But then my mindset kicked in and I said, nope, that's not living up to the promise that you made yourself. The promise that you made to your family. That wasn't living up to making that change. So even though the treadmill wasn't available, I just started some simple body weight movements. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't. I was out of shape. But I knew that I needed to get somewhere. I needed to take those steps. Now, the first couple of days, I was amped. I was ready to rock and roll. I was up early. I was ready to go. But that's what they call the honeymoon phase, right? Everything's all exciting and new and you're pushing through and you're kicking butt. And it wasn't until about a few weeks in where I really started to feel that honeymoon phase kind of go away, kind of dissipate. And there were definitely plenty of days when that weak mindset crept in and reared its ugly head. It tried to derail me. And I'll be honest, there were some days over the past 5 years, and it even happens sometimes today, where that weak mindset comes in and it strives to win. And there are some days where it did win. But the difference now is that I stuck to it and that I've built up a resilience to that weak mindset. Now when I start to feel those thoughts and that negativity come in, I know how to battle it. One, because I've done it before. Now, it doesn't mean that every day is easy. Almost every single day is a challenge, but I've strengthened my mindset to be able to overcome that weakness. You see, mindset is like a muscle, just like your muscles on your body. You've heard the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. So you have to consistently work on it. And again, like I said, I'm nothing special. I'm just a normal guy who finally got fed up enough with myself that I realized I needed to make those changes. And the path hasn't always been easy. And I've had my fair share of speed bumps along the way. Everybody does. And it hasn't always been a constant progression. I definitely have regressed from time to time. And over the past 5 years, I've developed a system that works for me. And again, if I can do it, so can you. You see, I am living proof that we all possess the tool to change our lives, to live the life that you want to. Yes, even you. Everything starts with your mind. Your mindset is the master key. It will unlock the door to the life that you want. But remember, it's on you to determine what's on the other side. So take responsibility for the choices that you've made up to this point in your life. Take ownership of your life, of your actions, and know that no matter what happened in the past, you can take steps forward to change your life. And it all starts in your mind. I believe in you. Now it's time for you to start believing in yourself. For me, everything changed once I decided to change my mindset. And now it's your turn. Thank you for being here, listening to this, and spending some of your time with me today. I really do appreciate it. If you found value in this, please consider subscribing. It would mean the world to me. And hey, share it with a friend that you think would benefit from it as well. And as always, make the day great, make the day yours. We'll catch you next time. See ya!